Welcome to Trust AI Partners, where we dive into the cutting edge of tech innovation. Join us as we explore how AI automation is transforming the industry. If you're ready to discover the future of AI innovation and how your company can get ahead, stay tuned and connect with us for more information. I'm your host, Jim Hoover, and joining us today is Jen Lutes. Did I pronounce that correctly?
You did. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Jen is a nonprofit founder and executive who grew her organization from an idea to a mission-driven operation with an annual budget north of $900,000. She's led culture change, strategic planning, fundraising, and operations while navigating the realities of nonprofit reporting, grants, and impact measurement. Jennifer, for those new to your work, could you introduce yourself and share your organization's mission and the spark that led you to start it?
Absolutely. So, like you said, my name's Jen Lutes. I started an organization called Cornerstone Assistance Network of North Central Texas about 15 years ago. Our mission is to empower our neighbors in need through comprehensive services and relationships. And I think that's the key piece of what we do is the relationship side, to not only impact this generation, but future generations. So what that actually means is that people come to us because they have a financial need. They can't pay a bill. They're about to be evicted. Something's happening. And so they're calling us asking for assistance. And we want to figure out, okay, what is the root cause that's causing that problem so that we can fix that and get them back on a level playing field with the rest of us.
So it goes way deeper than just paying off a bill. If you can get to the source of the problem, then
For sure, yeah.
yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
so my background is counseling. So I have a hard time with just putting a Band-Aid on things. So I want to, you know, as counselors do, you want to get to the root.
Yeah, no, I recently had a conversation with another nonprofit organization where it was the same sort of concept in providing housing for veterans. And one thing that he educated me on was he said, we can give away a house, but it's much more likely to not be maintained if they do.
Yeah.
Versus creating a leasing sort of a program and work-related support, and then being able to have it be much more sustainable over the long term and better for the veteran, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we've learned too.
What's a common misconception donors or the public have about nonprofit growth?
That somebody else is going to give them the money, that the government's going to pay for it, that grants will come through, that and it's not wherever you are, and I'd put that across the board for anything. For us, the area that we live in is considered a bit affluent, but we've got poor among, like it just says, we have poor among us. We are going to always have that. So even in the best of places, you still have people who need help. I'd even say that, for people who are struggling with cancer and that family is now, coming in together and not necessarily looking outside, because they are so focused on trying to get healthy that it's really easy to miss the people who are needing the assistance.
Makes sense. And I'm curious, how do you choose who the beneficiary is?
So for us, it really comes down to who's willing to do the extra work. Because there's plenty of people who would love for me to just hand them money and be on their way. And right. I mean, who doesn't want that? Give me money and I'll go. It's fine. But the people who are willing to do the extra work. So we call them neighbors, our clients, we call them neighbors. We hold our neighbors accountable. And in that we want them to do homework between the time that we've seen them to the next time to get them to move forward in their progress of being able to be sustaining themselves. So those that aren't willing to do the work, we're not the right nonprofit for them.
I see. And how about your ideal funder or partner profile?
My ideal one is somebody who's willing to come in with us. So we have lots of volunteer opportunities, right? As all nonprofits do. So we, even our case managers are volunteers. So the people that are meeting with our families, that are mentoring, that are coaching, all of those things, I would love for our funders to have some people who come in and see that. Or we have 2 programs that are specific for kiddos, and if that's where your heart is, then come and give a backpack and or help with Christmas, or do the things, be a part of our program, because we'd love to have you.
So not just financially involved, but get involved with the work.
Right. Well, mostly because I think if you're involved with the work, your financial is going to become more meaningful and more consistent. Right. So if you understand that, yes, your dollar is going to help this family keep their lights on this month. And not only that, they're working to get a better job, or we've taught them how to advocate for themselves to get a raise for a job that they've been at for 5 years and haven't received a raise. So then you become more emotionally invested in us, and then you stay with us longer.
Yeah. And how about in terms of operations? What's the primary operational fundraising pain point that your team faces today?
Rent. Right. I think that's everybody's pain point. It's the overhead, right? So in a nonprofit, nobody wants to pay overhead. Everybody thinks everybody should just give their time for free. Everybody should be able to have a space that they don't have to pay very much rent for, but that's just not realistic. Like, the people who own the building that I rent from, that is part of their business plan, is to make money off of that space. And so they give us, the best deal that they're willing to give, but I'm paying market rate, because that's just how it works.
Are there any particular pain points when it comes to fundraising in terms of capacity or donor pipeline or program measurement?
Yes, all of the above, right? So there's never enough people, never enough time. And then so again, I live in a community that is rapidly growing. I think in the US, they've done the like top 5 places that are growing, and it's always the cities around me, including mine, that are on that list. And so I have an influx of people who have no idea that I'm here every year. I think yesterday I was in a town meeting that said something like there are 30 people moving in a day into the city next to me. A day, 30 people. So there's no way that I'm going to be able to get in front of all of them. So that is probably the biggest pain point, is making sure that we stay relevant and in front of people that are here. But how do I do that with a limited staff?
And what efforts are you making currently to be in front of those key people?
So thankfully, the towns that we are in, they tend to have like new resident mixers, is what they'll call them. They have events for residents who are new to come in and learn about what's going on in the town, the nonprofits that are around. And so we're always attending those. Like I was saying to you earlier, October is really busy. Well, we've had a vendor or a volunteer fair in one of our towns. We had a big just come see the town fair the next weekend with a local. This one was kind of cool. We had a local news station that was doing so we have a Christmas event, and they did a drive-through drop-off Christmas toys for us at this event with our town. So the great part about that was that then we got the local news. So the Metroplex now knows about us from that one event. And then, of course, it put some eyes onto the, event in Prosper.
So is the need stronger now, meaning like a higher priority now, to find more volunteers, or is it funding?
It's always both. Because I don't think you can have one without the other. So we are always needing volunteers, and and again, like I said, I think that the value of volunteers are not just that, they get the good feeling that comes from helping somebody, but it's then they become advocates for us, and they're going to tell their sphere of influence, hey, I just did this really cool thing, maybe you guys should come learn about it, right? So when I've got a golf tournament, then they're inviting their buddies so that they can hear about it. Or when we've got an event, they're bringing people in. Funding is a big deal. Like right now with all of the federal grant funds being not unsure, we'll use that word,
Mm-hmm.
unsure of what the future is for that. The funding, so I haven't received federal grants in a long time, but the funding that I do receive, the grants that I do receive, they have so many more people who are applying for it, because the people who were getting federal grants are now trying to find other grants. So I've lost some income because they've tried to spread their money a little bit further into more organizations. And so, yes, is that answer?
Mm-hmm. No, that's I understand. And so when you focus in on the funding aspect of all this, are you targeting for local businesses, medium-sized businesses, corporate sponsors? Who is the focus target of for the fundraising prospects?
So early in my organization, like when we were first born, I got very lucky and got accepted into a cohort that oh gosh, I can't. Communities Foundation of Texas is who brought us in, and they were looking for smaller organizations, and they were trying to teach us basically, here's the things that you need to know in order to grow, right? And so one of the things that they said in that early on was, make sure that your bucket is not just one bucket. So you need to have fundraising bucket. You need to have, like we have a resale bucket. And then you also need to have corporate dollars. You need to have grant dollars, and you need to have individual donor dollars. So for us, it's everything, which again makes it very difficult because we are a small, like I have 2 full-time employees. I do have a decent number, 7, no, that's too many, 5 um, part-time employees, but still that's not like trying to hit all of those things. You're just busy. So my job is basically, as much as possible, being out in the community, talking to corporations, talking to individual donors, talking to local businesses, both big and small, because the truth is $500 is, it's just as helpful as $50,000, right? I need them both.
Mm-hmm. And so it sounds like a lot of the initial contacts are coming through local grassroots networking, getting in front of people, being at the events, uh, showing the brand, the organization, the mission. How about any sort of digital presence, or what are you doing with social media campaigns?
So we that probably has been our weakest space, I would say. In the last 2 years, I think we've started to try to, like, it really has started making a difference for us. I was able to bring on, again, it's part-time, but a part-time communications person. And so she's very diligent about our social media. So we have uh, Facebook, TikTok. I'm trying to think what all we have: TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And then every week we have an e-newsletter that goes out to our donors and supporters. Um, and so with our resale store, I'll give you this example. With our resale store, the TikTok thing that we have going now has been so good, and we've seen that in our sales numbers. So of course, it took a little while for it to grow, but we have new people coming in because they've seen our social media stuff. And I'm getting told when I'm out in the community, man, y'all's social media game is really good. You guys, it's entertaining, uh, you know, and you're showing some really cool stuff. So we have figured out social media absolutely is a key player.
And so, have you implemented any strategies or thought about any strategies regarding getting involved with social media influencers with a large following to get them to talk about it?
We have talked through it. We have thought through it. We have not been able to figure out how to break that in yet.
I see. Okay. And how about for targeting? medium size to large scale corporate sponsorships that might be out of state? What efforts have you made in that area?
For out of state, not as many. Not a lot at all. This past year, what we have, again, just kind of with being in that grassroots of showing up at chambers and showing up at these other meetings, and being intentional and inviting, the larger corporations that are in our area in to come and see us and talk with us. And we do a
Hmm.
big, presentation of here's who we are, here's how it works, here's how we'd love to have you guys part of it, including the volunteer piece, because corporations, what they want is they want to give you their money, but they also want their people to be able to see how they're giving back. And so they want their people to be able to volunteer. So we've been able to do that, and we've really made some inroads there, specifically with hospitals in our area, because we have a lot in our area, and that has been really beneficial. I haven't been able to push it into like the larger, more broad companies, I guess.
Do you see that as an important next step to bring the organization to the next level?
I do. I do.
Have you considered or utilized ad grants from Google or Meta?
We did. So we did the Google one last year. And honestly, I can't say that it hasn't helped, but I don't know that I can point to how it has either. So it's one of those where, again, like I know that we're seeing a lot of things that are improving, and we, like anything, you throw a ton of stuff at the wall and see what sticks, right? So what is it that has helped that happen? Probably a mix of all of the things, right? So we have done Google grants. I don't know about the Meta grant program.
Have you been able to allocate any portion of the funds for the organization specifically towards digital outreach?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
And I actually just received a grant, which I'm super excited about, that half of the grant has to be spent on capacity building, which means that it has to be spent on how to grow the program. So for us, and it was specific with digital training of my staff. Like it gives you buckets that you can fit it into. And then the other half is unrestricted, which is always great as well. But I love the fact that I've got these dollars that I specifically have to spend to grow the organization.
I see. And when it comes to private donors, which media channel has been the most effective for attracting private donors so far?
So it depends on the age. My 40s and up, it's absolutely Facebook and LinkedIn, those two. My youngers, it's Instagram, and for the resale store specifically, it's TikTok.
Okay. And I imagine you have specific Cornerstone profiles set up on each one of those channels.
I do, yeah.
Okay. And how about in terms of prioritization? How are you prioritizing growth across programs versus operations versus development?
So the last few years, that's been pretty difficult, is what I'm going to say on that. Because we've had to focus a lot on making sure that the dollars are there. So so we've put a lot of effort into development, but I also believe that in order for the development to work, we've got to make sure that we're doing right within the programming element of who we are. Like that's why we're here, right? So but one of the things that we tried to kick off like 2 years ago was this very good job placement, job fair kind of event. And then people stopped hiring. Like we had
Mhm.
one really good event while people were hiring. And then for the next 2 years, people quit hiring. So we have had to pause that so that we could figure out, okay, what can we do during this time? And so now instead, we just have some recruiters that are helping us with more of just the one-on-one coaching with our clients.
I see. How about technology? Where has it helped already? Technology or AI?
So technology has been really good. AI has been really good because what my communications person has really been using AI to make sure that our communication is stronger, I guess. Making sure that what we're trying to um, portray is what's coming across. So that has been really good for us. And then we're also able to make sure that so when we have an application that's going out, we make sure that what we're asking for isn't misinterpreted, right? So we've been able to use that. I don't know that we in my nonprofit world area um, have really dug deep into how AI can help us just yet. Especially on the development side, I think that there's probably a lot of room for experimenting, I guess, is a
Hmm.
if that's a good word, on how to use AI in that world. Uh, so so yes, we've started to use it, but not quite sure how to uh, implement it just yet.
And what's the typical, I don't want to say sales cycle because it's probably not the proper label for it. But in terms of private donors, well, I guess private donors would be pretty immediate when somebody makes that decision. But when you look at partnerships with businesses, corporate sponsorships, from the initial contact to how many meetings or how much time does it take before they're actually involved?
So it depends on their budget, right? So
Hmm.
if depends on what their calendar year is. Sometimes it's January or yeah, January to December, but sometimes it's June to July. So you kind of have to know where they are in their budget season because if you can get them ahead of their budget season, then you can get yourself put into the next year's budget. So for anybody who is January to December, October is when I have to be talking to you because then now you may have funds that are left over before the end of the year that you need to spend and we would love to take them. But
Hmm.
also now I can say, okay, here's what we've got in 2026 and anything that you guys would like to be a part of, here's where I would love to plug you in. So for corporate, I have both, right? So I know that there are a few that are in, we're probably about 40, 60 of like their annual budget starts in July. Now for government grants, like city grants, that's actually their fiscal year is October 1st through September. So again, but to answer your question, it has depended. Sometimes it takes me 6 months to get
Hmm.
on and get money from, and sometimes it takes me 2 meetings.
Yeah. And in terms of administration and compliance friction, what administrative areas create the most friction for you?
The donor data, um, like I, so it even here's what I always thought was okay. When we get to this point, I'm going to be able to have this great system that's going to help manage all of my information, and it's going to work for all of the various pieces, and I don't have to use the 4 or 5 different technology things that we use. I don't know what that number is yet because we haven't hit it, and 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 it's those pieces which I completely understand. Like technology is not cheap, but the subscriptions are so expensive even for a nonprofit, and so we're trying. That's kind of 2026, 2027. That is my goal, is to really get us to where we have a better um, donor management tool so that way I know exactly when I've talked to them the last time, and what we talked about and all of that, instead of having it on sticky notes on my desk.
So currently you're tracking all that manually.
Yes,
I see. Okay. Yeah, that's got to take a lot of time.
it does, it does.
Um, so in terms of reporting, what core metrics do you track to demonstrate impact?
So we track the amount of money that was given. So with our case management side, right? So the amount of money that was given, the amount of times that we saw them, uh, what changed from the time that we've seen them to the time that they were complete with us, and then how long that change lasted. So, for example, we had a woman come in and she had been unemployed for a while. So we worked with her. We paid, I think we paid something like $1,300 total. We worked with her for 4 months. Um, we worked on her resume. We worked with her on her interview skills, and then we worked with, like, she had a little bit of a gap, so we worked with how do you explain that, because we as women, and she as somebody who just had a low self-esteem at that moment, really wasn't giving a good answer. So we wanted to make sure that she was more confident in walking in. Well, then we had a partner reach out to us and say, hey, I'm hiring this position. Do you think you have somebody for it? And it was just an admin position, but it would have been enough money for her to where she could have covered all of her bills, and it would have been great. So we sent her, she went on the resume and she went on the interview, and they said, so no, we don't want her for that job. We want her for this other job, which is higher paying, higher management type role, because that's where she probably, fits in the best. She's been there for 2 years. So, so that, we're trying to track, like, how are they doing? And once they left us, how long did that last? Or have they needed to come back in?
I see. And so looking forward, what specific outcomes are you targeting over the next 6 to 12 months?
So we are looking to add in, so right now we work with adults on our case management mentor coaching side. And then we have these two events for children, right? So one is where we provide everything that they need that's on their list for school, so that when they walk in, they are just like every other kid. They have a backpack full of the supplies that the teachers are asking for. They have brand new tennis shoes. They have spirit wear. So they are just like any other kid walking in, confident, knowing that they can handle this year. And then we also have Christmas, where that's just a burden for the families. These kids, many of our kids, like we've learned, they didn't have Christmas trees, so we provided that. We've learned that some of our families, their kids have never had a stocking. Well, I never not had a stocking growing up. So it was just something that's just a little different, and just helps them feel a little more loved and not forgotten, kind of a thing. So those are my two kid things. But what we're seeing right now is I've got a lot of families who are coming in who have a lot of teenage kids, high school kids. And we've decided that next year, over the next 2 years, we're really going to develop a mentorship program for these kids, because if their families have been in perpetual need, then what we're teaching their parents, I really want to teach the kiddos too, but I want to teach it to them differently, because I want to talk about their road and what their road could look like if they do, ABC. And in our area, every one of the education foundations provides assistance to the kids who are on free and reduced lunch for at least 1 year of community college. So it could be trade school, because our community college has trades in it, or it could be something that's getting them launched for a 4-year degree. So that's really some of the things that we're looking for. And then plus the job placement side. My hope and goal is that the economy gets better, the job market gets better, and so we are able to really build a robust job assistance program.
And so if you could jump in a time machine and we're at the end of Q2 2026, what percentage of increase does success look like?
10%.
10%. Okay.
10% increase would be such a huge success. And it would be not just, absolutely funding, right? Because that just means people are comfortable giving funding away again. That's kind of some of the things that we've seen, is our donors are just a little scared to not just save that money right now. So people are more comfortable with donating their money back, but also, I've got that coaching program going with my teenagers, and I've got more people who are coming in because the calls are continuing to grow, especially as we continue to grow in our area.
And are you comfortable sharing with quantifying that 10% over the next couple of quarters or next 3 quarters? Are we talking 100,000 or 500,000?
No, an additional. I mean, honestly, if I have an additional $70,000 that's coming in that's not expected or planned for, that's success.
And do you know on average, if you just isolate the business and corporate sponsors, on average, what is the typical donation?
20,000.
20,000. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's basically the fundraising element is the biggest thing holding you back from getting there. I see.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
So when you look to market and attract these corporate sponsorships, have you evaluated when they're looking at who they're going to select for a nonprofit organization, how unique Cornerstone is compared to the other options that they have on the table, and how you're uniquely positioning that?
I have in the last probably 18 months. I when you build something, and so when I started this, just going back a little bit, sorry. When I started this, I had never owned a business before. My parents had, and I watched them, and all of the things, but I haven't ever started a business from nothing. And my background wasn't business, it was counseling. And so I always had this mind of, okay, I'm going to start this, but I don't really know if I know what I'm doing. I did, and I do. But it took me a little while to kind of get the idea that no, this is good, and the work that I have done has created the success for this, right? Not that it's just me, because I have had an amazing team all along the way. I have an amazing board. I've had amazing mentors all along the way. But one of the things that I finally realized is I, my organization, what we have created all along this way, our integrity is super intact. What what we offer, nobody else around here does. And so that is valuable, and it's valuable to the corporations because they know if they're going to give us their dollars, we're going to do what we said we did, that what we're said that we would do with it. And then we're also going to be able to bring them and their employees in, and they're not going to be nervous about how is this going to go, how are they going to be treated, because we're going to do it right. We're going to make sure that we're prepared for you. We're going to make sure that it's a good experience for you. All of those things, like that is the thing that we have worked really hard to maintain all of these years is, every program that I have, every event that we put on, it is as clean and comfortable and seamless as possible, because I want to make sure you walk away going, man, they're really organized.
And if you were to think about, for every $100,000 you're able to raise, how many neighbors or clients are you able to help with that?
So on average, it's gone up. Used to be, it was 4 months and $1,000 would help a family of four, typical family of four. Now it's about 1,500. It's like a 50% increase. So 1,500 for my 4 months is still consistent. Is a family of four I'm going to be able to help.
It's a huge impact.
Huge impact.
Yeah. Is there a particular grant writing myth you'd like to bust?
Yes. You know your story the best, right? And yes, they want to know your data. They absolutely want to know your data, but they absolutely also want to hear a story. Like they want to understand, okay, yep, this dollar is going to go for this kid and this is what's going to happen for him. But they also want to know, our Cornerstone Christmas, the way that we provide gifts, we provide a Christmas tree if they don't have one. We provide hoodies because in Texas, nobody wears a coat. We provide food for the 2 weeks that the kids are off of break, and we provide stockings full of stuff, and they get 4 gifts per child, and then we wrap them at the event. So it's like the whole thing. Like we take all of your Christmas and we provide it for you. But because we provide so much, and there's a couple other Christmas programs that are different than ours, but they still would get gifts, we only allow you to be on the program for 3 years. But our seniors, every senior that we have, we give that kid a computer because there's a chance that they're heading off to college the next year, or even if it's, community college, they're still going to college and they need a computer. So we had 1 year. So we had a family that they did our back to school bash where they got all of the stuff for school for 6 years in a row. Because again, that one I'm not going to put a time on. Like I'm going to get you from kinder to high school. We'll get you done. So she was walking into her senior year. Mom had applied for the Cornerstone Christmas program, and that was her 3rd year. So she couldn't, or it was her 4th year. So we were going to tell her, I'm sorry, you can't do it. And she said, oh, I'm so sad. This is my last year. She's my last kid. I was really looking forward to having the computer and for her, because I know she's trying to go off to college next year. And so we were like, yeah, you're fine. Come on in. Right? Because we have the ability to make that change because we're small enough, but also, we're here to make a difference for the families. And that's in my mission statement at the beginning. I said current generation and future generation. That's future generation right there.
Mm-hmm.
So we absolutely brought that sweet girl in, and I was ready to wrap that computer myself with a big bow and all the things because we wanted to make sure that she was prepared for the next year.
Facts tell and stories sell.
Yes, absolutely.
What's one process you've automated that surprised you with its impact?
So for automated, not enough, I can tell you that. But for one thing, so these 2 events that I was just talking about, everybody has to apply through an application process, and then it puts it all into, we've got it to where we'll put it all into a spreadsheet for us and pivot tables and all the things. That has probably been the biggest time saver that we've had is being able to use technology so that we're not having to spend extra hours with data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. Are there any upcoming events for Q4 2025 that you would like to put out there?
Yeah. So like I said, we've got this Christmas event. It's the 2nd weekend of December. We have an Amazon wish list that we would love people to come to. It's end of year for us, which is a big time for people to donate, and which is the largest part of donations that we receive is in the last quarter. So again, we're trying to continue to grow. We're trying to help as many people as we can. Our Christmas or our back to school event this past year, we served 150 kids more than we did the year before, and we still had people on the wait list, and we've never had people on a wait list before. So we added more in, and then this year with Christmas, the application has actually gone out already. We have 4 school districts that we serve, and the first school district within 24 hours, we had 100 applications, 100 families, not 100 kids, 100 families had already applied. So it's definitely a big need that's continuing to grow out here.
What a huge impact. Anything else that you wanted to mention that we haven't already discussed?
Yeah, actually, I think it really is just an invitation for everybody everybody is passionate about something. And if you're not involved in a nonprofit, even if it's just that you're giving them $5 a month, that $5 is huge, especially if 100 people are given $5, that just adds in. So my suggestion would be find something that you are passionate about and give your wisdom, give your time, give your treasure, whatever you can do, help a nonprofit because we all need it.
Good message. Jen, thank you for pulling back the curtain on nonprofit growth. culture, and smart use of technology, how technology can accelerate impact. For listeners, we'll link resources and ways to support in the show notes. If this episode was helpful, follow Trust AI Partners and share it with a colleague in the social sector. Jen, thanks again for joining us. And one last time, where can people get more information about Cornerstone or connect with you if they want to be involved?
So Cornerstone, our website is cornerstonenct, so northcentraltexas.org. Anything is there. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and then I am on LinkedIn, Jennifer Lutes. Love to connect with all of you guys.
Thanks, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.